Welcome to my bench, guys. I got a few quick tips here I thought might be helpful or useful for some of us modelers here. These I learned over the years of flying radial control and building plastic model kits. So the first idea, or first tip I should say, is I take a Q-tip and I cut the end off of a Q-tip like this. Okay, now most of us have a Dremel tool or a variable speed drill. This is a master's tool that I use. It's variable speed. Highly recommend getting one of these because you can adjust the speed so you don't burn through the paint. Now what I do is I take and I stick the Q-tip right into the end of the Dremel here. Okay, and then you can use your own, I use Novus 2 or Novus 3 for polishing. Whatever you use, wax. So I put a little bit on the tip of the Q-tip. I rub it in. And this gives you very fine detailing for polishing. Small little areas, okay? Around the windshield, tops of the fenders, into the corners. Hopefully you can see this. It works fabulous, so give this a shot. That's tip number one. Tip number two is we all use Kicker here to set CA. So what I do is I take a pipette. You can use the large one, the small ones, or the large ones. I prefer the small ones. You have a lot more accuracy using these, and you get a much finer tip. What I do is I take the pipette, I grab it on the end, and I pull on it and stretch it. That gives you a micro fine tip on the end of the pipette. Then I trim it off, okay? And then you can go into your Kicker. You draw up a little bit of Kicker, and if you're gluing a seed or a dash in, it gives you very, very fine point drops of Kicker, so you don't make a mess with the Kicker. That's tip number two. Tip number three, I see a lot of guys doing this, painting bodies. I have a friend of mine who works at a body shop, and one thing he always told me was, always chase the overspray. Do not go and spray your bodies like this. What's happening is you're getting atomized paint, drier paint, on top of the paint that you just put on. So the key to this is always chase your overspray. You start at the bottom and go either up and over, or you go front to back, chasing the overspray. That way you don't get atomized paint on top of a fresh coat of paint. That's tip number three. So now let me give you a quick tour of my shop, and I'll show you my stash, part of my stash too. Thanks for joining. All right, guys, I'm going to give you a quick tour of my shop here. I've been flying RC models for 50 years. This is my 50th anniversary coming up. It was my first love. I started when I was 9 years old. It just fascinated me when I drove by a flying field one day with my mother in the car, and I looked up and saw them flying these models in Framingham, Massachusetts. And then I've been building plastic models for over 50 years. I started probably when I was 6, 7 years old. I love trucks. I was a truck lover since I was a kid. And that's how I started building models. And now I build everything in models, not just cars or trucks. I like planes and military stuff also. So here, let me show you around for a minute. This is my workbench here, where I build all the plastic models. Hobby Zone bench set up. This is a airplane that I've been working on for a couple of years. It's a kit. Now I've been into N-scale trains also for quite a few years. This is an N-scale layout that I built probably 14, 15 years ago. And this is where I keep most of my stash. This is mostly my military stash and the airplanes. There are some cars in here also. And over here is where I keep most of my cars, my car kits. It's too deep. I have probably right around 300 kits in my stash. Plastic model kits. This here is also part of my stash. These are some of my favorite kits. I like to collect the Foos kits. I like to have at least one of those in my collection that's not being built or open. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that quick shop tour and the few tips I have for you, and I hope it's helpful to you. And we'll see you on the next video.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you want to see more of these videos. Thank you.